Now, very quickly, and then we're going to open up your questions. There is a cost to do nothing. There's a couple of examples here in the local area. There's, first of all, Columbine Country Club. Now, a lot of people say, look, we're not a country club, this is not applicable, don't talk to me about that. Let me tell you what happened. They did not maintain and enhance their facility, and they were losing members faster than they could get them. And so they changed general managers. He came in and he said, yes, I can fix it, but here's what you got to do. You got to scrape that clubhouse off. And they did that. It's a $24 million project. It's a $17,000 per member special assessment. And they have gone through and done that. Now it's very close to being open, but here's what's happened. They have, first of all, during that period of construction, they've had 2 initiation fee increases. And they've got a waiting list for membership. So the membership is full. They've got a waiting list for that. And it's causing all kinds of wrinkles in the country club arena in the Denver market now with other country clubs such as brain cramp. Well, Cherry Hills is looking at it. Castle Pines is looking at it. Several of the country clubs are looking at the fact that they need to upgrade. But probably more applicable to us is a little golf club over at Iliff and 225. It used to be a country club. It's Heather Ridge Golf Club now. In 2009, the country club went out of business. They were able to save their golf course by forming a metro district, and they're profitable. But they've got this boat anchor of a clubhouse that sits out on Iliff. They've tried all kinds of things with the restaurant. It's full of asbestos. It needs updating, etc., etc. So now they're selling. A developer has come in and said, we'd like to turn this in to an assisted living and a senior living facility. We'll scrape off that clubhouse, bearing all the costs for the demo and so forth, and build that new facility on that site. Then there will be enough, for I know what the numbers are, but I think they were given confidence, so the developer pays X, and there is enough left for them to build a 5,000 square foot golf clubhouse with a cart barn down below and keep their clubhouse. So they were able to hold on to the golf course, but the facility is what drug them down. With that being said, we are now ready to, Jeff, do you have any questions for clubhouse repurposing?
First one here is, if the clubhouse increases in value, does it increase our property values and also our property taxes?
I would take an accountant to answer that question. I don't know. I don't know. Saw Don Rankin. Wild guess, yes? Don Rankin? Yeah, you don't know either. He's a CPA and he doesn't know. So I don't know the answer to that question. Did everybody hear the question? Okay, Jeff, read the question again. Everybody please listen up to the questions.
If the clubhouse increases in value, does it increase our property values and also our property taxes?
Don't know the answer.
Next question. This is something we didn't even think about. For items you will replace, can you donate them to a charity or nonprofit and get a tax deduction? New lights and ceiling and pool. I didn't quite get that, but we'll work it out.
Okay, so the answer about donating material, I would suspect you would. We would look at that as a potential opportunity. I don't think it worked out very well when we got the new tables and chairs. Basically, they hauled them off, but we would certainly explore that.
Next question. How do we pay for this? Can you say that in the HOA will not go up, HOA dues?
The capital improvement fund will go up at $5, and that's how we will pay for this. We will pay for it from money. We have $213,000 coming out of the reserve fund. We have the balance that's in the capital improvement fund that will continue to grow as we contribute at $15, and we will pay for it with a $2 million loan.
There are 5 questions on this. We'll just take one at a time. Removing restaurant fire pit at most allows for 1 or 2 tables added. What is the current average table revenue per year?
Don't know the answer.
Will additional tables in the restaurant generate revenue to cover the fire pit removal costs?
The fire pit removal cost would be part of the $3 million package. Don't know about the revenue from the table.
How long will it take to recoup expense of removal?
Don't know the answer.
If structural engineering is here tonight, can they speak to findings about structural integrity? If not, will this be addressed in the future?
We're not going to speak to it tonight, but we will certainly. That's a very key component when we get into phase 2. If you approve this project, phase 2 would involve a detailed structural investigation or assessment by a structural engineer.
Is there a plan for a family-style bathroom or unisex? Yeah, there is. A plan to update restrooms for handicap, knobs, taller toilets, auto door in the future. Any plan for the lifts at the pool?
There's 2 different questions there. One is the current bathroom updating into ADA compliance, I guess. Interestingly enough, as part of this process, we've learned that those restrooms out there are ADA compliant. Don't shoot the messenger, but they are. Secondarily, the upgrades to those restrooms would be part of the future reserve study or in the reserve study. I don't know the year that they're going to be actually addressed and updated. We could get that answer though and tell you when they're in there. The deal about a pool lift, I've heard that. It's a legitimate request. That would be in part of the soft costs that we would be talking about that would be determined as we go down the road.
When is the project to begin?
As we said, if you approve it on November 8th, we would try to have a contractor under contract by mid-December, and we would start in first quarter of 2018.
Someone asked about the 9 healthcare, and we'll get together with you that. We have no idea.
Yeah, we don't know that schedule that has come up. That's a very key component of the DNA of Heritage Eagle Bend. Everything that when we put the schedule together, we know the date that's going to happen in 2018. I saw Phyllis a little while ago in the back room. She'd shoot me and other boat back there, Carolyn too. But we have that thing high on our priority list.
We have heard that the input for the swimming pool indoor will not be replaced. I'm not sure what this... Somebody wrote this. Who wrote it?
Try it again. Right. That would be considered under the soft cost. That's the question that was just asked. That would be something like any of the new stuff that's going in there. Because, understand, but we don't know the answer of what all the soft costs will be, but it certainly is on the viable list of suggestions.
Will the restaurant and bar be open more regularly and with longer hours after the repurposing?
I don't know about the hours. I've already addressed one of the things about how we're not shutting down the swimming pool so that we have a wedding out there, but we're certainly looking to do everything we can to make sure that the impact or the blockage of us using that amenity of the restaurant and bar is held at a complete minimum.
They also want to know if we're going to be advertising more to the general public.
Hold the mic up. Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Stay on mic, Jeff.
They also want to know if we're going to be advertising more to the general public. HEB residents do not support the clubhouse enough.
Okay. I think that's somewhat of a misnomer. It'd be a whole different presentation, but we wrote about it about sometime earlier this year. The marketing efforts that we put in online and in advertising to get outside people to this clubhouse is a substantial amount now. But it's that proverbial tip of the spear. do outsiders kick out displaced residents? But needless to say, we're very anxious to get outside revenue.
Can we have a plot, can we have a fireplace somewhere in the eagle's nest?
I don't know the answer. Don't know the answer.
Anything to reduce the kitchen noise in the interior room?
Okay, that's a legitimate request. We've heard it before, and yes, it is being considered not part of this project, but yes, it's a legitimate request.
How will we make up lost revenue during the renovation?
Here's the way that's going to work. We're going to present to you a 2018 budget. You're either going to approve it or not. Now, for example, if you do not approve this $3 million project, there would be an adjustment to the budget because we probably wouldn't go from $10 to $15 on the capital improvement. So it'd be a different number. But we're going to agree on a number on November 8th. We don't know what the revenue impact is going to be, but it is going to be substantial at different times. So once we get our construction schedule and fine costs determined, what we will do is to come out with a new forecast that says how much is the revenue being impacted as we know when certain things are going to happen. As an example, what we would probably do is we would probably start in the Eagle's Nest during the dead of winter so that we could be in and out of there before golf season kicks in, so that we would minimize the revenue impact in the Eagle's Nest restaurant and bar. We might be able to have a bar function somewhere else down in some other part of the clubhouse to try to capture some of that revenue. There is going to be an impact to it.
We have another engagement, so we will not be present, but I hope you will publicly answer questions so we can view them on video or on the tape.
We're doing that. Go ahead.
We live very near the clubhouse, and the noise from the restaurant is very noticeable. How much will the terrace and the great room cost? Kind of mixing up the questions. So,
Don't know the answer.
if we are updating, why not? Now wait a minute. I'm doing the best I can. You know how hard it is to read your writing? You should read mine. Okay, if we are updating, why not make changes in accessibility? This seems more urgent.
There is going to be some excess of enhancement, particularly down at the west door, for coming off the bocce court and those kinds of things. So we're sensitive to that.
How much area in the new library as compared to the current library? An increase or decrease?
Probably a decrease. What you have now is you have those bookshelves and so forth in the middle of the room. That isn't going to be there. So there may be some books downstairs, as I said. We're sensitive to the fact that the library is being impacted by this. We're going to keep the books in the library room that we have now. We're going to have we may be building bookshelves into would be the west wall of the great room on the other side of the wall from the library. We may have some books downstairs, but the reality that we also have to address is that more and more people are going to tablets and Kindles and electronic reading, and there has to be an impact and an adjustment. But we don't hide from the fact that the library is being impacted.
How long will the Eagle's Nest be closed?
Don't know.
Well, we've answered the questions on the library now.
Okay.
Got some more there? These are financial questions.
Okay, go ahead. You don't mind?
What increases in club revenues do you expect from the project that may offset some of the profit cost or future assessments?
What increase in club revenues do you expect from the project that may offset some of the project costs or future assessments? That doesn't enter into the calculation at this time. Keep in mind This project is a capital improvement project. It is totally separate, mutually exclusive from the operations of Heritage Eagle Bend's golf and food and beverage operations.
Are we a non-profit HOA?
Here you go, yes and no. And what we're going to get into in the next section is what is yes and what is no. So sit on the edge of your chair, the answer is coming.
How will $3 million of capital improvement impact the reserve contribution?
It will impact it to the tune of $213,000 to the fund. Going forward, what we will add in the way of new equipment and furnishing becomes part of the reserve study. Everything we spend on equipment, furnishings, chairs, here, it is assumed that at some point in the future it will be replaced. And so it is out there over the horizon, given that all of the soft costs that we will add will be brand new and have a life of somewhere between 10 and probably 25 years.
This question comes in now. Have we followed all IRS requirements in filling out our taxes, and can we assure our residents will not be liable for any past filings?
Stay tuned.
Ron Pyle. Expanding the restaurant is useless because it never... I'm trying to figure out what the question is.
It's an opinion or a question?
It's an questions at the end. Okay. It removes by changing the Shavana room, we change a meeting room. How is that going to help us?
If you look at the impact is, we get a net one gain of meeting rooms. The Shavana room goes away, and the library and the billiards room become meeting rooms. +2 minus 1 is +1.
Could we include smart inside meeting rooms as part of the budget plans for tech, laptop, cards, and smart boards?
That's been discussed as part of the soft cost, that we certainly will upgrade the technology package. For example, this room, one of the residents said, why don't you stream it into the Humboldt room? We don't have this technology today. We would have it going forward.
I really got to read this one. What if someone wanted to donate $3 million? Would we do that and name the clubhouse in their name? That's the best question yet. What is the security required by the bank for the loan?
It's a great question. I'm sorry we didn't cover it. Two ways we could have gone. We could have put a mortgage on this place, excuse me, mortgage on the clubhouse, mortgage on the golf course, etc., etc. Or, and one of the questions you're going to be asked at the budget time, is that we could secure it against future assessments. So in fact, if Susan moves, then the person that's buying her home is on the hook for the $15, but Susan's out of here. If we put a mortgage on the place every time that a realtor comes out to sell or buy a house out here, first thing you're going to see is that there's a mortgage on the property. So we're going to ask you to secure it against future assessments.
What is the contingency plan for the interest during the 18 months or so construction period? What is the collateral for the loan? Well, you just said that.
From the get-go, that $2 million bank facility will be secured by an assignment. I believe that's the correct legal term on future assessments. Both of the banks that we are working with will only secure a bank facility by taking an assignment on future assessments. That happened to be the only way in which we would proceed. We do not want a mortgage. We do not want to in any way encumber the common elements of Heritage Eagle Bend. This simplifies the closing and the securitization of the loan. It avoids soil samples, phase 1s, phase 2s, all that title work. And as Steve just mentioned, anybody who wants to buy and sell here, that encumbrance will come up during the title work. It is totally avoided in this way.
And the loan percentage is locked in once we get a contract. The loan percentage is locked in, so it's not a concern. It's just like those of us that have fixed interest rates on our home mortgages now.
Why don't we borrow money from ourselves via the $1.75 million from Lennar as a lawsuit?
Actually, we actually looked at 4 different funding models, and one of which was to go out to the individual homeowners. But we did not feel that that's a very slippery slope. If I'm all of a sudden into this place for, say I just loaned this place $500,000, I want to come up and get a seat at the Eagle's Nest, and all of a sudden I'm Mr. or Miss Big Shot. It's a very slippery slope.
Does the budget include staffing for the 2 new bar areas, one up and one down?
Budget does not does not have that because there will be no staff additions in the 2018 budget. The construction is going on during 2018. We won't be adding headcount to service those new amenities until 2019.
Have you considered all the lost revenue during the construction?
As we've discussed, we certainly know it's going to happen. I've addressed how we would handle it is to do a reforecast.
Will the doors, walkways, locker rooms all be ADA compliant? I think you already said that, didn't you?
Yes.
How are we going to generate the $270,000 repayment? We've already said that. What happens?
First of all, it's $27,000, not $270,000, and we've shown you how that is produced across the board at $15 a month.
How can this board say the $15 will not be raised by the next board? Can you say the cost will not be raised?
We can obligate the board, the future boards, relative to the repayment of the debt. And that's really that $5 component piece of the $15. That's incorrect. It is the 15, full 15, right?
It's full 15, and as you just said, just like Congress, we can't obligate a future board except to the extent that the HEB Master Association signs a promissory note to repay the indebtedness over 84 months at a monthly payment of approximately $27,000 a month based on the interest rates we're working with. As I mentioned during my presentation, what I wanted to show first and foremost that it was feasible, it was possible to do a $3 million project, completed in a year and a half more or less, take on $2 million of indebtedness, first 12 months construction period, followed by an 84-month repayment period, and still have money left over, modest amount, for other improvements over an 8-year period, and do that by a one-time increase to $15 per month and leaving that in place for the next 8 years.
Okay, that's good.
This question, everybody in here is going to answer. Does construction for upper and lower levels include contingency for unknowns, and how much, or who knows where? How much are we going to spend?
$3 million.
Say it again.
$3 million.
There you go.
Okay, that concludes our questions on the clubhouse repurposing.